English. It's the language we use to communicate with each other every day. But have you ever stopped to think about how this language came to be? How did it evolve from a collection of Germanic dialects spoken on a small island to become a global language spoken by billions? The story of English is a fascinating journey through time, conquest, and cultural exchange. It's a story woven into the very fabric of human history. English is spoken on every continent and has official status in over 60 countries. It's the language of international business, science, aviation, and the internet. Understanding its history allows us to appreciate its richness and complexity. So let's embark on this journey together and uncover the fascinating history of the English language. Our journey begins in the 5th century AD with the arrival of Germanic tribes on the shores of Britain. These tribes, the Anglo-Saxons and Jutes, came from present-day Denmark and northern Germany. They brought with them their languages, which formed the basis of what we now call Old English. Imagine a language quite different from modern English, with sounds reminiscent of modern German or Dutch. The grammar, pronunciation and vocabulary of Old English varied significantly from the English we understand today. This was the language of the Anglo-Saxons. Old English was a language of warriors, farmers and storytellers. It was a language rich in alliteration and metaphors, reflecting the oral traditions of the time. One of the most famous works of literature from this period is the epic poem Beowulf, a tale of monsters, heroes and bravery. While most modern English speakers would struggle to understand Old English, it left an enduring mark on the language. Many basic words in English, such as house, bread and love, have their roots in this early period. Just as the Anglo-Saxons were establishing their hold on Britain, another group of seafaring people began to make their presence felt: the Vikings. Originating from Scandinavia, these fierce warriors raided and eventually settled in parts of Britain, leaving their own linguistic mark on the evolving English language. Imagine the clash of cultures and languages as Old Norse, the language of the Vikings, encountered Old English. While often depicted as brutal raiders, the Vikings also engaged in trade and intermarriage with the Anglo-Saxons. This cultural exchange led to the adoption of many Norse words into the English language. Words like sky, skin, take, and even the pronoun they all come from Old Norse. The Vikings' impact on English grammar was also significant, simplifying some of its complex grammatical structures. The encounter with the Vikings enriched the language, making it more adaptable and laying the groundwork for further linguistic transformation. The year 1066 marked a turning point in English history and language. William the Conqueror, Duke of Normandy, invaded England, defeating the English at the Battle of Hastings. This victory had profound and long-lasting consequences for the English language. Norman French, the language of the court and the ruling class, became the language of power and prestige. Imagine the dramatic shift as English, once the language of the rulers, was relegated to the background. For almost 3 centuries, English was considered a lower status language, spoken primarily by the common people. During this period, English borrowed heavily from Norman French, especially in areas like law, government and the military. Words like justice, parliament and army all entered the English language during this time. This infusion of French vocabulary gave English a more sophisticated and nuanced vocabulary, setting the stage for its eventual resurgence. By the 14th century, English began to re-emerge as a language of literature and culture. One of the key figures in this revival was Geoffrey Chaucer, a poet and writer whose works helped shape the evolving English language. Chaucer wrote in a form of English that we now call Middle English, which was a significant departure from Old English. Middle English incorporated many French words and grammatical structures, reflecting the linguistic fusion that had been taking place for centuries. Chaucer's masterpiece, The Canterbury Tales, a collection of stories told by a diverse group of pilgrims, is a vibrant tapestry of Middle English. His work not only entertained, but also helped standardize the language, making it accessible to a wider audience. Chaucer's influence paved the way for English to regain its status as the primary language of England. The Renaissance, a period of great intellectual and artistic flourishing in Europe, had a profound impact on the English language. This era witnessed a renewed interest in classical learning, leading to a surge in the adoption of words from Latin and Greek. The Renaissance period in the 15th century marked the beginning of early modern English, a new phase in the development of the English language. The invention of the printing press in the 15th century further fueled this linguistic expansion. Printed books became more widely available, leading to greater standardization of spelling and grammar. New words flooded into English from across Europe and beyond, enriching the language and expanding its expressive potential. Words like anatomy, gravity, and skeleton all entered the language during this period of intense intellectual curiosity. The Renaissance transformed English into a language capable of expressing complex scientific, philosophical, and artistic concepts. The 16th century marked the beginning of England's colonial expansion. As English ships sailed to distant lands, they carried with them their language, which would have a profound impact on the world. From the Americas to Asia, English began to take root in new territories, often displacing indigenous languages in the process. The reasons for the spread of English were complex and often intertwined with political and economic power. English became the language of administration, trade, and education in many colonies, ensuring its continued dominance. This period also saw the development of new dialects and varieties of English as it interacted with local languages and cultures. The global reach of the British Empire played a pivotal role in establishing English as a language of international communication. No discussion of the English language would be complete without mentioning William Shakespeare, arguably the most influential writer in the English language. Shakespeare's plays, written in early modern English, are still performed and enjoyed by audiences worldwide. His works not only entertain but also enrich the language with countless new words, phrases, and idioms. Shakespeare's linguistic inventiveness knew no bounds. He coined words, blended existing ones, and used language in creative and unexpected ways. Phrases like "break the ice," "love is blind," and "green-eyed monster" all originated from his plays. Shakespeare's impact on English literature and language is immeasurable. His works continue to shape our understanding of human nature and the power of words. Fast forward to the 21st century, and English has become a truly global language. The rise of the internet and digital technologies has accelerated its spread, making it the de facto language of online communication, entertainment, and commerce. English is the language of social media, online gaming, and international business transactions. While the dominance of English has its benefits, it also raises concerns about linguistic diversity and cultural homogenization. However, the global use of English has also led to the emergence of new hybrid forms of the language, as it adapts to different cultural contexts and technological platforms. English continues to evolve at a rapid pace, driven by the forces of globalization, technology, and cultural exchange. The future of English. What does the future hold for the English language? As with any living language, English will continue to evolve, influenced by social, technological, and cultural changes. New words will emerge, old ones will fade away, and pronunciation patterns will shift. The rise of artificial intelligence and machine learning is already having an impact on how we use and interact with language. Despite the challenges posed by globalization and technological advancements, one thing is certain: English will continue to be a vital tool for communication, creativity, and human connection. Its adaptability and capacity for innovation ensure its continued relevance in an ever-changing world. The journey of the English language is far from over. It continues to be written every day by every speaker, writer, and learner who embraces its power and potential.